Thank you, Mr. Avery. I'll recognize myself now for 5 minutes. In your public posts in this law and in the information submitted to this committee, you claim that you have administrative authority to grant relief under the Internal Revenue Code. Do you have the ability to utilize this transition relief for the individual mandate?
Mr. Chairman, we have not.
It's a yes or no.
Mr. Chairman, we've given a lot of consideration to our authority.
Do you have the authority or
and
not?
We have not considered that question, whether we'd have the authority to provide similar transition relief with respect to the individual responsibility.
Well, wait. So is it your position that there are limits on the authority that prevent Treasury from delaying the individual mandate? And if so, I mean, is there any limits at all? Are you able to do anything with the individual mandate?
There certainly are limits, Mr. Chairman, to the Treasury's authority to provide this kind of transition relief, and the limit.
Do you have information there about some of the burdens and costs involved with the individual mandate or the business mandate? Do you have information in front of you that you're referring to about some of those burdens and costs for businesses and individuals?
Mr. Chairman, we've considered the burden.
Do you have the information in front of you on the burdens and costs for individuals and businesses? That's a yes or no. Do you have information in front of you on the burdens and costs? I want to give myself more time because you're not answering my question. Do you have information in front of you on the burdens and costs for individual and businesses? That's a simple thing, yes or no? I just want to know.
Yes, qualitative information.
I'd like you to submit that to the committee so both sides have a chance to review that. I'm going to order that. But I'm going to continue on here. So when you're looking at individual costs in business, who looked at this authority for Treasury to be able to make this decision that you could waive these things for the individual? Who in your department did that?
Mr. Chairman, the Office of Tax Policy.
Who? Were you involved in those discussions?
I was only tangentially involved, mainly.
So communications were made to you about those? Communications were made to you about the content of those meetings, those discussions?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
We'd like to see the notes, emails, and things from those communications because we would like to find out about how this decision was made. Will you provide that for the committee?
I don't recall, Mr. Chairman, that whether there were written communications about that, but the Treasury Office of Tax Policy has, for decades.
We'll cover history another time, sir. I want you to focus on our questions. Things will go smooth if that happens. Before the announcement of the delay for the employer mandate, did you do an analysis of the constitutionality of the delay?
I did not.
Did anyone that you communicated with do an analysis of the constitutionality of the delay? For example, have you reviewed any memoranda or participated in any discussions at all about the authority to delay these provisions in the Affordable Care Act?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And what I'd like you to do is submit for the record the information from those discussions. I want to ask you, too, as long as we're on the topic of waivers, I got a letter here from the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the Electrical Workers Union. And they'd say that we cannot afford to sit on the sidelines as this law imposes increased benefit costs, fees, and new taxes. If these concerns are not addressed, it is likely that the majority of multi-employer health plans will dissolve and the 26 million covered individuals will lose the plans. They also managed to put a full-page ad, I think this was in roll call, also addressing these issues to Congress and to the President. So this begs the question then, do you agree that implementation of the Affordable Care Act is jeopardizing multi-employer plans and the individuals they cover? I might add, Mr. Jimmy Hoffa also published something on this too. Do you agree that multi-employer plans are in jeopardy here too for these 26 million Americans?
Mr. Chairman, the multi-employer plans are going to be able, we believe, to comply with this law in a way that does not jeopardize coverage for their members.
Jimmy Hoffa from the Teamsters and the IBEW and the National Electrical Contractors Association are saying it does not. So will you be reviewing about giving them a waiver as well?
Mr. Chairman, there have been requests.
Well, let me ask this. Do you have the authority to offer that waiver?
We have not. What sort of waiver are you referring to, Mr. Chairman, if I may ask?
The kind of waivers you've been offering other people. The kind of waivers you're offering other people. I just want to know. I'd like an answer to this question without being desultory here. So if they like the 26 million the coverage 26 million Americans have through their unions, can they keep it? And do you have the authority to waive that?
Mr. Chairman, the coverage that members of the plans sponsored by the multi-employer unions have is coverage that they can keep.
Mr. Avery, Jimmy Hoffa, the Teamsters, and the IBEW, and other groups saying they do not. And I would like you to submit an answer for the record of A, if you have the authority to offer them waivers, and B, what they'll be. I know I'm over time here, but I'm sure other members will follow up. I yield to Ms. DeGette for 5 minutes.